So I just wanted to go over this mRNA setup on the daily and what I thought about the key level, the most important level on this day, and why. So mRNA obviously, trending up. I mean, it did make a high here and it did pull back, but recently we've kind of gotten above this shoulder here and we've been creeping up more and more. Clearly it's trending up still. And then we have another recent sort of kind of resistance here in this area. And so I kind of wanted to give my take on how I see the best way to play this is with the most confirmation. And here's kind of like the resistance here. So if we open up right here at 440 and we want to get long, where would be the best spot to get long? Or where would be the most confirmation that it indeed is staying long and you can risk a certain amount for another move further up? So to me, here's what I see here. If we're opening up right here today and we want to go long, where are we going to run into resistance? Well, the first resistance point is this daily level, yesterday's high. So sure, we could get long maybe towards it or above it, but as soon as you get long, where's the next potential spot to run into resistance? Well, right here, this daily level, which is going to be right there. And then the next one, oh, look, there's these 2 days combine to have a couple different levels that are even higher. So as of right now, if you go long right here, you're going to run into all these potential resistance spots. So then you could say, well, my trade is from here to here. But then where's your support? Because as of right now, you have a million different supports. I mean, you could say 2 days ago, the high is combined with the close. So you could say maybe that's support. But then look at all these different levels. So for me, I say the absolute best confirmation to get long for any move right now, today, on this stock is above 450. And the reason is all of these levels eventually stop showing up at 450. The highest point of these levels stops right here on this low. And then after that, you have a big gap. And the next level isn't until up here, which is all the way at 456. So for me, if price gets all the way up to 450, which sure, you can say, well, that's a lot of move that you've missed. And that's true. But my edge and it tells me that the most confirmation is at 450 because you've gotten through all of these different resistances leading up to the last resistance. And guess what? An ATR is on average about $22. Okay. So guess how far that is? That's all the way up here. So we're talking right here, 450 is right here. Look, that's only 50% of its ATR. So we could still get a good meat of the move right here with the confirmation. So then I come up with that theory, right? So I'm like, okay, we have resistance, resistance, resistance. The resistances eventually stop right here, and then we have a gap where price could go up further to here. And then what else is common? What else is important about this? Well, you got your perfect $450 psychological level. So you combine all of these things with the 450, you got yourself a good level. So then you put that level there, and then you go to the 1 minute or the intraday, and then what I want to see is certain intraday patterns, which most likely are going to be long patterns, ABCDs, flags, pullbacks, etc., VPA, which proves it. So then you go to the 1 minute. Here's opening, goes up, goes all the way up to $450, give or take, 25 cents. The spread was up to like 30 cents at some point. Comes down, breaks through 450 with VPA. So right then and there, that tells me that 450 is confirmed the big level for today. So, had I planned on this. I could have gotten low, or could have gotten in on maybe this kind of pullback support at VWAP for the potential for 450. But for me, I need the confirmation. So I would, I want to see this. And sure, I got long at these pullbacks, but I didn't like my entry. And matter of fact, when it broke through here, I put a limit order right on the second minute to just pull back and then fill me here within, give or take, about 30 cents above 450. It just happened to not get it, so it went away from me, and I did chase it. But had I waited for that, it very well could have got filled. Or had I left it there, price came all the way back, hit 450. This is another confirmation that 450 was indeed the level, because you got this lower volume pullback, and then volume starts to pick back up a bit more as it bounces off. Could have kept my order there to fill here, or I could have just put in a price alert to tell me, hey, when price gets under 451, come back to it and check it out. And that would have, this would have been totally worth RVR of like, $1 or $2 stop loss, and could have got multiple R's out of it. But that to me is just super duper confirmation. Yeah, you don't get this whole move, but you get just much higher probability. So for me, that's the daily breakout. The daily breakout didn't happen yesterday's high. It happened to me at 450. Now we can say, okay, well, yesterday's high, which is a really nice triple top, so this probably is a pretty decent level. Let's see what it did. And it broke it on the second minute and held it within about 50, 60 cents. So that was decent, but you can see how really important this level was. Like this was the better level in my opinion, because it worked throughout the whole day. You could have traded at multiple entries. You can see here how you got a good like 40% of an ATR, no, maybe like 33% of an ATR move from this 450. You got $8 move. You could have been risking about $1 or $2 and gotten anywhere from 4R to an 8R move, depending on how much you risked. So that to me is the perfect trade. That's an A+ setup. I think that this intraday action is pretty much all I want to see all the time. But what's even trickier is finding the level. So for example, that this level I think was kind of tricky to find, because when I'm looking at this, it was hard to pick a perfect level. But I think that combination gave me the 10 out of 10 level. But for other daily breakouts, they're a little bit more cleaner. So you go to QS here. Same thing, it's a daily breakout. However, it's on the we'll just call it a third day play, because it's the third day after earnings, after the volume kicks in. You had a lot of volume. You had a pretty decent sized candle here. You had an inside day candle, which the high of that was really close to the high of the day before, so that makes that level even more important. So as of right now, this and then what do you have? You have your psychological $0.50 24.50, which lines up, right? So that's a perfect level. You zoom out and look, this 24.50 generally, give or take about 50 cents, give or take about 30 cents, lines up really well with the even bigger, higher time frame level. So right now, this 24.50 is easily 10 out of 10 level to me, just like the MRNA. So, but price opens down here. So the same thing, it's like, well, you're losing all of this, but you have high R ball. It's going to move multiple ATRs. What is the ATR? The ATR is 1.4, which is down here, 1.4. And so after you hit that 24.50, oh look, we've lost about 60% of an ATR. Well, that's all right, because we have super high R vol. It's only 60% of the ATR, and a lot of times when you get these very near the open or near the open, you get another full ATR move. So I sort of reset the ATR you know, unless we moved multiple ATRs just to get here. But the fact that it only moved about 50 to 60% of it after 10 minutes, that to me tells me I'm going to reset the ATR and start it right there. And look, right there, here's confirmation on the intraday. Boom, breaks 2450 with volume. That's a clear confirmation. You could have entered in right on that break. Then you have the really nice retest here of 2450, and then VPA moves from there. And this thing ends up moving, like 2 ATR from the break. Almost, yeah, about 2 ATR from the break. In total, it moves about 2.5 ATRs. But just from that break at the open, it moves 2 ATRs. So same exact trade to me. The only difference is finding that higher time frame level is slightly different. You know, QS has actually been beaten down, whereas mRNA has been trending up, very bullish. So there's probably some differences, maybe some different price action. You know, this might be more bulls continuing to get in, whereas QS might be shorts kind of covering / good news. So this is probably why it's a bigger move, because I think this was a better level, and it's not as extended up as like mRNA is. And then another comparison is Snap, and this was from yesterday. So yesterday we had higher RVOL. The thing is Snap has been really strong, has this nice support here at $70. It's been moving from $70 up while SPY was going down. So clearly this was bullish. You had a good move yesterday. The second day, price nears previous day's high, gives a good pattern. And what that pattern is a high RVOL compression right here. So RVOL was over 100%. I think it was 150 to 200%, while it's moving only 50% of its ATR. So that combination is, okay, we have a lot of volume continuing with not a lot of movement. That's an anomaly, that's a compression. And sure enough, high day break, you get VPA coming in breaking it. Yeah, that previous day's high was 76.33, and you put that on the map here, and that is right here. So it breaks that, retests it, and then from there you get another, I think you get another full ATR move. Yep, you get almost a full ATR move from there, and you got extra confirmation. There's your breakout. One more is Uber. So here's one more daily breakout that's really similar in my mind. The difference with this one, though, is this is on the first day. So this is on the news day. So for Uber, gapped up quite a bit from here. It was a 6% gap. Had been trending down for a while. However, so really, you know, I had no idea that I was going to want to long this stock, but you know, it's on the gappers list. It's got a lot of volume, so you know, you keep an eye on it. So, and this is an example of why you keep an eye on it. So here's the pre-market and all the move up that it did. But what was important here was that at the open, super high RVOL, you know, like 500% on this day, right? So you have 500% average RVOL for the first hour. You should expect some movement in the stock, right? Well, no, there was very much movement in the stock. This was the ATR at the time, $1.28. And for the first 45 minutes, price decided to stay within about 60% of its ATR. So, you know, you have 5 times the amount of volume, but only half of the normal movement. So that doesn't equal out, right? So therefore you got some good compression here. So then you say, well, okay, it looks like it's sort of compressing up. We have this clear area right here that it keeps coming up to and failing. So that's resistance as of right now. However, the lows keep getting higher, right? So we have compression here. Why is this area so special? Well, we know it's a whole dollar psychological number of 43. So then we zoom out and we look on the higher time frame. You know, yesterday pre-market 43 isn't impacted. So then we have to look on the daily. You zoom out and sure enough, 43 right here on this day is a really big support here. And no, it's not perfect. It's actually the low that this got down to was 43.20 something, but that's pretty darn close. So that's like the art of it, is like connecting all of that. The psychological number of 43 whole dollar. Clearly this area is support. And then you combine it with all this RVOL that is not yet breaking 43, but is showing signs of compressing against it. So to me, this is just like the other trades. Well, it's not quite like mRNA because mRNA had lower volume, and that one didn't move near as much. But in terms of importance of the level, this is just as important. This probably is even more important because to me, this is going to give you a much bigger move, RVR move. So I would want to risk even more on this. So sure enough, so how do we confirm that this indeed was the level? Well, VPA picks up a bit right around here at 43. It's not amazing, but it does break it and it pulls back exactly to 43. So you have multiple entries. You have the on the break entry and then the pullback entry, and then sure enough you get one ATR move and you get 1.5 ATR move from the break. In total, 2.5. Actually, yeah. So two ATR total for the whole day, but from the break, from your extra confirmation level, you get 1.5 ATR. So amazing RVR there. So those are all examples of a daily breakout. But the most important part is finding that key level and then seeing what patterns it gives you against that key level. If the stock is trading like shit, it's not going to give you clean moves like this. It's going to just keep going up and down through it. And if it does that, then to me, number one, that's not a good level. Or number two, it's accumulating or distributing, and it's just not ready. It's not yet ready. So to me, I wouldn't use 43 then. I'd probably use the top or the bottom to wait and see what it does. And then hopefully once it gets above this, then it would start to move well. So